Hello! So, we are back with SxOC Week 5. This one's gonna be an interesting one, because it's post-commentary, as I kind of talked about in a few videos ago. A few of the matches got lost, and this is one of them. I just never actually had a video for this one, apparently, so here we are. That unfortunately means that you can't see the teams. But I'll read off their teams to you, and unlike the last time I tried to read off someone's team, it's not going to go poorly. So, we're up against Sam. Sam is actually the current owner of GSC, a really good battler. And going into this week, this was my last chance at actually securing a spot in playoffs, because, well, you know, I'm 1-3 at this point, so if I lose this, there's no way I can make playoffs. So, this is like, well, if I don't win this, I can't make playoffs, and if I do win this, then there's a small chance I can still make playoffs. So, Sam's team, however, is very scary. Their team consists of Mega Sizzle, Dracovish, Raikou, Arcanine, Hippowdon, Nihilego, Blissey, Noivern, Cofagrigus, Gogoat, and Kricketune. It's a very, very well-rounded team with a lot of defensive options. Things like Arcanine and Hippowdon's a pain to take down. Blissey with Hippo's like really good. Like support Noivern, Cofagrigus, they're all really good options. As well as, you know, Mega Sizzle, which isn't easy for my team to take down. The only thing I've got for it is Rotom Heat. So, like, actually getting the kill on Scizor is not going to be easy. Dracovish is a Pokemon I've always struggled against because it just hits like an absolute truck. Raikou is a lot scary now because of Scald, and actually means that Rotom Heat is not exactly a safe answer to it, so I've got to find something else to really deal with it. Nihilego was actually a pretty recent addition for their team. They hadn't brought it. They hadn't brought it up to this point, so I was like, they could be a chance that they bring it here. I'm not sure. Cofagrigus, I was like, I'm not sure if they'll bring. Noivern, I'm not sure if they'll bring. I was looking at the top three, it's like, okay, top three are coming guaranteed. Like, Mega Sizzle, Dracovish, Raikou, probably Arcanine and Hippo, and then my guess would be Noivern or Blissey, is what was coming. So, yeah, like, I knew it was going to be a tough week going into this, so, yeah. As for what I brought, I haven't actually looked at this team yet, so I don't actually know exactly what the team is about. I've actually watched the replay just to make sure I'm not messing up on stuff. But, the team we've got, max HP, max defensive Vaporeon, because I need something for Dracovish. It's the best answer I've got for Dracovish. Which protects Scald and Flip Turn. I feel like pivoting is going to be pretty important this match, because if, you know, I bring in this thing, I want to Flip Turn out, so, you know, I'm not just stuck in against whatever comes in following the Vaporeon, or following the Dracovish, so Vaporeon's got to be pretty important to be kept alive for this match. Nothing too special about it. Rotom Heat, we actually do have a bit of Spadef. I believe this is actually to take 2 Scalds from Modest Raikou, just in case, and then the rest in defense. As for the defense, I think it is just to take Scizor hits, could be also to help take Hippo hits. There's a lot of things, and Arcanine, there's a lot of things that it wants to take hits from, so it's a really good pivot piece for this match. Obviously, it's my main way to kill Scizor. Scizor will just die to an overheat if it hits, but actually getting the hit off is going to be the problem. Pain Split and Default, just my default this week. Need to keep my pieces healthy, because there's a lot of things that can just whittle me down if I let it get out of hand. We're going to leave Mew to the end, because Mew's the interesting one. Registeel, Spadef Registeel, very, very simple. This is actually pretty good into Raikou. It's also good to Nihilego if they do bring it. I just need my Stealth Rocks this week, and this is just my dedicated Stealth Rock mon. Body Press does good damage into a few things. Don't really know why I went for... Oh, for Blissey. So Blissey just couldn't sit in against me all day. Toxic and Protect. Like, getting a Toxic on Hippo is going to be very important if I, like, want to try and whittle that thing down. Next up, just max HP, max attack Buzzwole. Very straightforward. EQ, Ice Punch, and Drain Punch. I think I just chose this coverage just because it was like the best coverage against the majority of their team. Like EQ was obviously really nice for Arcanine and Raikou. Ice Punch for Noivern and Hippo. And then Drain Punch for Stab. Comfey. We're actually trying Comfey out. This is the first week we're bringing Comfey. And we're actually trying to do the setup with Draining Kiss, Calm Mind, Synthesis, and Store Power, Max HP, Max Defense. Because otherwise, like, some of their mons will actually break through it on the physical side if I let it. If Sizzle goes down, this is actually the win condition. Because, like, I also wanted to bring it because they've got the Double Dragon. They've got Dracovish and Noivern. So, like, having Draining Kiss, I felt like was really, really important here. So, yeah, Comfey, it's actually coming out. It's the first week we're actually trying it, so let's see how it goes. And then the Mew, because this is the one that kind of needs the most talking about, and that is, we are coverage bot Mew, in a sense. Coverage bot in a sort of offensive utility way. We've got U-Turn, Knockoff, Zen Headbutt, and most importantly, Flare Blitz. The main idea behind this Mew is we outspeed Sizzle. We are Animate Max Attack just to deal a good amount of damage. And the thing is, we're carrying Flare Blitz to bait the Sizzle. The first time Sizzle and Mew interact, the whole plan is to just switch Mew out. Just don't even show anything. Just straight switch Mew out. I don't want to stay in with Mew. And don't reveal what kind of Mew I am to the Sizzle. Because obviously they'll try and scout for a fire move. Please don't tell me the recording picked up on that. If it did, I do apologize. That's me rendering other videos in the background. So yeah, Mew. The whole idea is actually it's supposed to bait Sizzle. And I want to try and get the kills on Sizzle with Mew. So hopefully we can do that. Anyway, obviously there's no Mega Arrow, which is kind of a big deal, but I felt like the other pieces here were so much more important. And Mega Arrow does 0 to so many of their mons. Like, it'll die to Scarf Dracovish if it comes, unless I run literally max speed. And then I outspeed it. But if it's in Sand, then I do not outspeed it. They've got Mega Sizzle, which obviously outspeeds. Scarf Lego if it comes, that'll outspeed. It can't touch Hippo. It will barely. I think it will 2-hit KO Cofagrigus if it comes. Like, Defensive Arcanine might even just barely get 2-hit KO'd as well. Depends. I'm not sure. So yeah, I just didn't think Arrow was good enough this week, and I felt like the other pieces were more important. So, as for the match itself, let's get into it. So as you can see here, something very noteworthy. Do not bring Dracovish, which I was like, oh my god, they didn't bring Dracovish. So it's a really, really big deal for me, because obviously I just don't like playing against Dracovish, just because switching into it is a nightmare, but obviously I do have Vaporeon, so it makes sense why they didn't bring it. They bring the Noivern instead as their dragon. They actually do bring the Lego. I probably alluded to that a little bit, which means Comfey is definitely a bit worse here. They probably actually didn't anticipate the Comfey, to be honest, and Cofagrigus as well, so I'm like, okay. A safe leader here is Mew, because they don't know what my Mew wants to do if it leads, so, and I can just scout anyway, so we're just going to leave with Mew here. We're going to stick on fast because I've watched it back. So I just go for a knockoff turn 1, I see no reason not to. Get rid of their leftovers, and they set up T-Spikes. I'm like, okay, well, I cannot have T-Spikes up for this game, because if Comfey wants to sweep, it can't be poisoned. That's not going to work, and obviously just getting good damage on this Cofagrigus early is quite nice. So I'm just going to U-turn on out. Again, I'm revealing knockoff U-turn. Obviously revealing how much damage I'm doing, so they can probably tell that I'm offensive, but that doesn't mean much. Like, I can just be offensive, like, but like, what else am I doing? I have to show knockoff U-turn, like, there's not much. But it also just means that if they do switch, I get momentum. So we go into Rotom Heat as they go for a Pain Split, do a little bit of damage, and heal on up a little bit. As they go into Raikou, as I go for a Defog here, because I obviously do not want these T-Spikes staying up. And I stay in here, knowing that I can take one hit and go for a Pain Split, to kind of scout what kind of a Raikou this is. And we do see its leftovers here, so I just wanted to see what kind of Raikou it was. I didn't want to, like, obviously the worst situation, like, the worst, like, was, like, a straight setup, but I just, like, I wanted to see, because I was like, it could be Specs, and I feel like it might be Specs here. especially because I don't have a ground type with me. So like I could easily see him trying to go for like Specs Volt Switch. So I just wanted to stay in just to see how they did, what they did, and just go for a Skull. And they are like with leftovers, so they are potentially set up. Here I've just double into Registeel because obviously I don't want to take that much damage on my Rotom. As they go into Noivern, I'm like, okay. Not sure why they went to Noivern, to be honest, but like maybe they read the switch, honestly. I just go for a Protect. I may as well Scout, and I do see the Taunt. I'm like, alright, it's more of a utility Noivern. It's not choice in any way, probably. It's more likely Boots and their Defogger for the week. So they go for a Flamethrower. Doesn't do that much as I just get up my rocks. I was like, okay, I've seen that they want to taunt me. Therefore they'll try and expect me to do something else. So they're just gonna try and go for damage. Maybe as I tried to Heavy Slam or something. So it's like, oh dear, there goes my mic. This is a scuffed recording, isn't it? I figured I may as well try and get up my rocks. If they are defogged, then they can show it me here. Learning more about Noivern's moveset is obviously very, very nice. So, I switch into Rotom Heat now, just to try and see what they want to do. They do Taunt again. And this time they go for a Draco into my Rotom, and I do live, and I just Volt Switch on out. I'm like, alright, well, Rotom's probably not going to be able to get another, like, chance, unless I get in a Wish with Vaporeon. But obviously getting this Noivern down is really, really nice. I decided to go for Mew here, and I know why I went to Mew here, like, pretty much exactly, because I wanted to start setting up the condition I said earlier, where I wanted to, you know, set up the condition of, like, making Sizzle feel safe. So, I just go for a knockoff here into this, as the Sizzle comes in. I'm like, cool. I'm just going to switch out. I'm not going to reveal anything, as they do switch out as well, and they go into Noivern. And I'm like, well, this kind of sucks. So, we have to switch out here, as they go into Kofag, as they go into Comfey. That was obviously a really unfortunate switch. I didn't expect them to go to Noivern, of all things, to try and, like, scout for a fire move. Maybe they were expecting to die, I don't know. But obviously we know that the Noivern is Boots. So obviously going to Comfey here, really, really nice. But I go into Rotom Heat. I don't know why that does that sometimes when it's like double switching, where it goes really fast. But I kind of expected Nihilego. So I just wanted to go into something else. I don't know why I went to Rotom Heat. I don't know why I did this, actually. It makes no sense. What was I expecting? Oh, I might have been expecting Sizzle, actually. That makes sense. If I was expecting Sizzle, that makes sense. But no, instead of, Nihilego comes in, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go to Registeel as they go for a Power Gem. Like, Registeel hard walls this thing, like, to death. So, I'm not too afraid of it. So I go into Sizzle now, as I just try to go for a Toxic, trying to catch a switch. I knew something was switching in, but obviously this is the one thing that can't get Toxic that was switching in, so kind of unfortunate. I didn't know if I wanted to try and go into Kofag to set up T-Spikes, or Raikou, or just anything, so, but obviously, it's a good switch on their part, and I just go to Buzzwole. Reason why I go to Buzzwole is because I went into Buzzwole last time Sizzle came in, so I wanted to kind of show, hey, this is my, like, defensive check to Sizzle, like, I'm willing to stay in here, and I don't think it was, I didn't think at this point it was set up, so, I just go for an EQ and do some decent damage, as they go for a knockoff and take off my lefties, which is very fair, as they just go into Noivern, as I go for a Drain Punch, kind of reading a switch. I'm like, I don't think they're going to stay in, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to, so, I just get the Drain Punch off, do some good damage, and I just go into Mew here, because I'm like, well, there's not really a lot it can do to me, like, a Draco will hurt, but, like, I don't think they're going to Draco, especially when Registeel is such an obvious switch in, so I just go into Mew here. Obviously, I know it can KO, so I'm just going to go for a knockoff here, I think. Yeah, just go for a knockoff. I may as well, if I get the, you know, anything taking a knockoff here is just going to be super nice. Obviously, so it's the worst thing that could take it, but we do get the Flare Blitz off, and the plan actually worked. I actually played well. We got the bait off, and Sizzle actually goes down, which was huge. I was really, really happy with that. I'm glad I actually played that the way I did, and as a result, Sizzle, one of the two things that could actually stop Comfey at this point, you know, it's down, and I was really, really happy. You go to Hippo, As I just U-turn on out, I may as well just, you know, why not? We also see they're not sand. They actually have no sand, they're sand force, which is interesting. They get up their rocks, I may as well go into Rotom Heat. I don't know if I'd try and defog here, actually, or Pain Split. I go for a Pain Split, but they actually just go into Noivern, which makes sense. They go for a Draco. Take me out. It's the only move they really could have, unless they had Boom Burst or something, to actually take me out at this point. I was at enough health, and I obviously wanted to defog, but that was not going to be the case. And unless this Noivern has defog as its last move, it could be U-turn. We haven't seen U-turn yet. It could be Roost. We haven't seen that yet. Like, we don't know this Noivern's last move, and so as a result, we don't, like, it's unlikely hazards are going away for the rest of the game because both of our presumed defaults are down. So I go into Comfey to try and revenge it, but I also know that I can just probably set up a Calm Mind pretty easily. And I don't know how well Comfey actually deals with Nihilego, so I'm just like, well, we'll see. I know I can get one boost guaranteed, and I'll probably get a second one here. But the Sludge Wave does a lot more than I was expecting, and I'm like, okay, well, that's not good. So I just go for a Synthesis. I'm like, I might be able to get this off barely with the leftovers recovery and just be able to get up another Calm Mind where I can actually deal with this. But I actually go for the Meteor Beam here, meaning they actually get a boost, and that means that I cannot stay in here. But the fact I was able to burn that Meteor Beam early was really, really nice. Registeel just obviously hard walls this thing still. There's nothing Nihilego can actually do to Registeel. It just can't touch it. It just loses the Steel types. So, Registeel putting in work, and Comfey just literally Calm Minding and Synthesizing and just not doing anything. So, they go into Kofag, as I think I just try and get the KO, or like do good damage with the body press here. And just go back into Comfey, just trying to get some recovery, I think, as they go for the T-Spikes, obviously trying to get the hazards up at this point. They go to Nihilego, because obviously, you know, they don't want to let me set up again, because now they don't actually have the power up as that kind of contingency plan, so I just go for the heal, though, make sure this thing can potentially clean up late game if it needs to. Again, back to Registeel, I have no real reason to do anything else. As they go for a Sludge Wave, they can't really afford to mess around with the Comfey because it can just win. I predict the switch again, and I go for a Toxic. We actually get the Toxic on the Hippo, which is the best case scenario, obviously. Like, getting the Toxic here is super, super nice. Means that we'll eventually get to whittle this thing down. So, just over Protect, may as well. But they actually go for the roll, a really good play on their part, and that means things are going to start having to get poisoned, which because of the Toxic Spikes, which is very unfortunate. Things are going to get whittled down. At this point, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, because, like, sure, they've got some things whittled down on their end, but Toxic's going to whittle me down. They've got a potential Calm Mind Raikou in the back of it, and Nihilego, so I've got to be careful. And my defogger is down, so I don't know what I do here. I think I just go for a knockoff to try and get rid of the leftovers. Yeah, just go for a knockoff, try and get rid of the leftovers on her post so it, you know, isn't being annoying. And it also just may roar anyway, so I may as well just go for it. They may just stay in, or even just slack off. Just getting rid of the leftovers would be nice. And then just go into Kofag, which does not take the knockoff well. And I think I just go for a Zen Headbutt here, just in case something switches in. We get the KO on the Kofag, which is very, very nice. Obviously, Mew's at half at this point. And I'm like, well, I don't want this Raikou getting a sub or a Calm Mind for free, so I'm just going to go for a knockoff here. We actually live a T-Bolt, and we get the knockoff off, and get rid of the leftovers. And Mew goes down to 3%. So I'm like, well, that's awesome. I may have calced it as well, honestly, to see if I could live, based on the Rotom Heat damage, so we got there. We get the live, and we actually live on 3, which is super, super big. I'm like, okay, Mew actually has potential for sack here. Like, giving me a free switch actually may be super valuable in this late game, so I'm going to save it here. I'm actually going to go to Registeel, because I don't think they're going to be able to do a lot to my Registeel, even with Aura Sphere, which they're not. I don't know if you have to be shiny for the Aura Sphere one, but I'm like, even with Aura Sphere, it's only, like, 25 power more than T-Bolt. Like, I don't think it's going to do that much more. Like, it'll do like 30% max after seeing how much T-Bolt does. So, it's going to Hippo. Makes sense. I can't really do a lot to Hippo. I just go for a body press. May as well get some damage on there. I think I just go to Vaporeon here. Yeah, just go to Vaporeon because I obviously want to try and take this thing down at some point. As they go for a Slack Off, I kind of thought a Slack Off would come out. just because, you know, they're at half health and they need this Hippo alive to actually stop things like Buzzwole, because otherwise Buzzwole just runs through the rest of their team. And I think at this point I kind of realised that. Like, Buzzwole just kind of wins in the endgame, provided there's no flying move on Noivern, which they haven't gone for yet, which I feel like if they had the, like, flying move, they may have gone for it at some point at this point, so I'm not sure. But we'll have to see. As they go into Noivern here, and I go for a Skull, just trying to, you know, actually do the damage that I need to. And these next 2 turns are very, very important, and we'll talk about why shortly. But I'm like, alright, I don't know this Noivern's last move. I don't know if it's Roost, I don't know if it's U-turn, I don't know if it's Air Slash. It could be any of those, and I don't, if it's U-turn, I really don't want to give this thing momentum. If it's Roost, it could be really bad, but at the same time, I've got enough things that can actually kill it, so I should be okay. And if it's a flying move, then, you know, I don't want to go into Buzzwole, like, unsafely. Because I don't think they'd go for Flamethrower here, but if they had a flying move, they could go for it, and I want to get into Buzzwole safely at some point. So I'm like, you know what, this is my time to sack Mew. Going to Mew, and they actually go for the Taunt, trying to stop me from Wish Passing. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll go into Registeel still, because I still don't know if this thing's got a flying move. I go into Registeel, and they go for the Taunt, and I get the Body Press off. Just trying to get the kill on this thing, and that was huge. They told me afterwards, they thought they'd revealed Roost as their last move already, and they hadn't. As a result of that, they kind of got in their own head, and didn't realise that, like, I wasn't even playing around the fact that it had Roost, because obviously I sacked off Mew. That wasn't playing around Roost, like, really that well, and, like, going for a Body Press with Registeel kind of plays around Roost, but not particularly well. So, yeah, like, it obviously made a huge difference, the fact that, like, they thought they had shown Roost already, and I actually didn't know, and we talked about it afterwards. You'll probably see it at the end here, that they didn't realise they hadn't shown Roost, and afterwards, like, you'll see here, they say GG, because they don't have enough to break through, like, my defensive Pokemon at this point. I just go for a Body Press on the Registeel, on the Raikou, just to make sure it doesn't do anything. I go into Buzzwole, my best switch in at this point, as they go for a Scorching Sands. I do have a Roost on the Buzzwole, so I can keep it healthy from, you know, the hazards and all that nonsense. They do roll me out, though. I go into Comfey. I think I just go for a Draining Kiss, actually. Just trying to get damage off. I know I'll heal a good amount anyway. And Scorching Sands didn't do that much to me. They roll me out back into Buzzwole. I mean, just go for an Ice Punch here. Just kind of be like, hey, I'm doing damage. They slack off. You know, it makes sense. And at this point, it's just trying to whittle down this this Hippo. These Roost on up, obviously, I want to keep myself healthy. They go for a Scorching Sands just because they don't really have much better to do. I hit the kill with the Buzzwole, which means I'm getting that Beast Boost of an attack rate. Not that it's going to be needed for Nihilego. Obviously, if it kills me, it's a problem, which it does get close. I probably shouldn't have risked that, honestly. But I knew that Registeel could just 1v1 it. Like, I didn't expect it to have a move for Registeel at all. So, yeah, we actually get the win 4-0, which means we are actually still in playoff contention. And having a 4-0 win actually really helps because, so, yeah, like, it means we've actually got a much better shot at playoffs than I thought. Just means we got to win the last 2 weeks, you know? It's easy, right? Just win the last 2 weeks. It's easy, you know? It's not like you had a 3-loss streak, and then you got to just kind of pull it back somehow. As a result of the 0-0 loss that I kind of talked about in the previous video, actually means our differential is a lot higher than it would be otherwise, which is, like, the one saving grace, really. Like, because one of our losses was a 0 loss. It means that our 2-3 actually gives us a decent chance of getting playoffs still. We just have to continue to do well. But despite not bringing in Mega Arrow, we actually still get the win, and I'm really, really happy with that. I think I played actually a lot, like, pretty well. I didn't use Comfey well at all, but that's because they actually had, like, multiple things that could deal with Comfey, and they were not letting me get their answers to Comfey for free at all. So they played well as well. Obviously, the Roost thing, like, not realizing they didn't show Roost was obviously a big deal. They took out my defog earlier, and if this game went on for much longer, it would have been a lot different, because Poison was going to whittle down a lot of my mons very quickly. So, but yeah, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully the audio has been fine. It's a little peaky at times, but yeah, we're 2-3 at this point. There's a chance we can make playoffs if we win the next 2 weeks. We'll have to see. Look forward to the next feud. That I believe all of the actual matches at this point are live commed, so I think there's one team builder I missed out on, but other than that, like, maybe I missed out on a team, but I can't remember. I might have missed out on a team builder on one of them. So other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.